Okay, I think that by now people are still probably trickling in, but my name is Dr. Ron Bouffard, and today I'm presenting a webinar that I've done a few times. This is called the Healthy Holidays webinar, tips and tricks to thoughtfully enjoy and indulge. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you that this is sponsored by Align Modern Health. For those of you who aren't aware, Align Modern Health has been in existence since 2011. We are the top-rated integrative medicine clinic of Chicago. Integrative medicine, if you're not familiar with it, is really kind of pulling from different modalities, in this case, chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, functional medicine, nutrition, and trying to develop strategies and helping to keep you well. We don't look at just one little individual spot of you, but we look at the whole person. That makes it holistic. And the root cause is, of course, what most integrative medicine people are trying to resolve. So unlike traditional medicine, we're just really looking for, well, how can we better make you healthy? You're familiar probably with a lot of these modalities, but what you probably don't know is we use acupuncture for stress and depression, but our acupuncture teams also are really great at infertility. They actually work with a few infertility clinics throughout the city. They also have some specialties with some skin acupuncture where we're actually working on cosmetic changes. So if you're interested in any of those types of procedures, we can afford that for you. We do have clinical massage therapy, which not just means, a traditional massage for just taking down some stress or dealing with some tight muscles, but we also deal with post-injury issues in the massage. And then in functional medicine, our reach is far and wide. I see a lot of gastrointestinal autoimmune issues, but we also deal with infertility, and we deal with food sensitivities and weight management, stress, big thing here. So any of these things that you might have, maybe work with just one piece of our team or all pieces of the team, depending on what you present with. A little bit about me. Again, my name is Dr. Ron Bouffard. I am a chiropractor by trade. That's where I got my doctor of chiropractic at Palmer College in Davenport, Iowa. I then went on and did 2 more postdoctoral 300-hour courses and passed boards to be a clinical nutritionist, as well as a chiropractic internist, which is the functional medicine branch of chiropractic. I also happen to sit on the board of the American Chiropractic Association Council on Nutrition. I am the director of membership. And of course, here at Aligned, I've been working for 3 going on 4 years. I work out of Logan Square, Wicker Park, River North, and I also do telemed. So what are we really going to talk about today? So, holidays can be pretty stressful, and those of you who have conditions that you're already experiencing, or maybe you're already in being treated by one of us, you've got some dietary restrictions, it can be really difficult to manage the holidays. So today we're really just going to talk about some of the basics on what everybody should be considering for just trying to stay healthy and trying to be more mindful, and making sure that even though we like to indulge, and you may want to go ahead and do that, but there are ways that you can set yourself up so that at least the indulging won't conspiratorially sort of set you in a downward spiral. We will talk a little bit about some healthy recipes and some ingredient swaps that you can maybe think about making this year for if you're hosting or if you're bringing a dish to a gathering, to see whether or not you can actually help make things better for everybody. And then we will talk at the end about alcohol. We don't want to demonize it. We definitely, know that you're trying to get together and celebrate, but some alcohols are better than others when it comes to sort of gastrointestinal issues. And I just want to present to you all the options so that you'll make choices based on information. So I'm going to start with a really simple thing, vitamin D. We live here in Chicago where it's already getting dark at 4 o'clock at night, and we just don't have enough sunlight during the day to make vitamin D. Vitamin D is produced by sun exposure. It's also, the sun is too low in the sky for us to really get any efficient, even if we are exposing ourselves to sunlight, getting enough vitamin D production. Personally, I think everybody in Chicago should be taking vitamin D, especially in the wintertime. However, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so taking too much of it can actually be toxic. So if you don't know what your vitamin D levels are, you should probably get it tested, which we can certainly do at our office. I do it with almost every patient that comes into my office. The majority of people are either deficient or insufficient and usually have some supplementation. Why vitamin D? Well, not only is vitamin D just helping to boost your immune system and help to absorb calcium to help build your bones, but it does actually help with mood regulation. It decreases your depression and sort of boosts your mood. It certainly helps with a lot of connective tissue disorders, easing muscle aches. It can help make your blood vessels a little bit more elastic in nature, prevent some sort of diseases. So vitamin D is a really well sought out and well intentioned vitamin, but you have to realize, because it's unlike most water soluble vitamins, it can manifest great or sort of maintain itself in your fat tissue, and then it can become toxic. Most people here, though, aren't. So if you are to consider taking a vitamin D supplement, an over-the-counter usually is pretty low in terms of what it is. And by the way, it should be D3 versus D2. And I usually recommend taking it with a vitamin K. Make sure that it is K2 or other, but K, just because it's a healthier version. There are definitely food sources that you can get the vitamin D from, mostly some of the oily fish and whole eggs. But if you are dairy or egg sensitive, that might not be the way to go. Now, we're also coming into sort of the cold and flu season. And when we travel, we certainly put ourselves through a lot of stress, and stress will certainly kind of nick down our immune system. So I like to sort of give people some ideas on things you can do to just kind of maintain a wellness. Drinking plenty of water and herbal teas certainly help to keep you stay hydrated. Hydration is probably the biggest thing I mention in my practice. Most people should get about half their body weight in ounces for water, and unfortunately coffee doesn't count, but herbal teas will, and broth is a really great way to also add some electrolytes, which I definitely think are a good addition as well. The key nutrients for the immune health, of course, we all know vitamin C, taking 1,000 milligrams of time-release vitamin C, pretty healthy. Vitamin E and beta carotene can be helpful for the E and A. And then selenium and zinc play big roles in both immune as well as sort of glandular productivity. Some of these things you might want to, again, find out what levels you have within your blood by getting them tested. A lot of doctors don't do it, but we here at Align do. Foods that you can certainly eat. Tart cherries, really great for inflammation, mainly. It really breaks down a lot of uric acid. And so if you're a person who's indulging in a lot of protein and have a increase of uric acid, the tart cherry will actually just sort of help to bring it down. It also helps with some blood pressure. But all these other things, the turmeric and the is sort of an anti-inflammatory. Garlic is antimicrobial. The walnuts got a great amount of omegas in it. So again, all these little things that you can do to just keep your body sort of in tune. So focusing on eating these particular veggies and foods, as well as trying to make sure that you're getting a good dose of these vitamins in the foods you eat. Limit the simple sugars because those certainly, unfortunately, are very inflammatory and also very, they upregulate your immune system in a wrong way. So one of the tips that we like to tell people is you can go ahead and enjoy a small favorite treat or dessert, but using sort of fresh fruit or dark chocolates as a dessert alternative is great. Whether or not you want to bring them about in your purse or bring them along with you so you don't overindulge in the pumpkin pie and the cheesecake is totally up to you. This slide here, we're really talking about how basically to maintain eating so that we don't overindulge. So we have a tendency to think, oh, I'm about to go have this great big Thanksgiving meal, so I'm just going to skip my breakfast so I don't so I can eat more. Well, that's not a really good way to do it because your body doesn't really like that. Intermittent fasting is great if you're doing it regularly, but if you're not, your body, when it realizes you're not eating right away, and then when you do start to overeat, you're going to have a overproduction of insulin and a big dump of a lot of extra sugar, and it really creates an inflammatory response. then your body can't regulate. When the sugar gets up really high, you get really tired. So after eating this big meal, you want to go sit down in front of the television and watch a football game, and you'll fall asleep. This is why. It's because your body is really saying your insulin is not doing a good job of removing the sugar. I recommend definitely eating about every 4 to 6 hours regularly. So getting up in the morning and just having a healthy meal that day would be good. And then if you're not eating again for another couple of hours, maybe doing a snack of either hydrated beef, or I like using protein and fat as my healthy snack. So I recommend doing certain nuts, about a tablespoon or two of nuts, or a small handful of nuts is a great way of just keeping or satiating your appetite so that you're not jeopardizing yourself. And because it's protein and fat, not a lot of carb, you're going to get a little bit more sustainability, and you're not going to get the fatigue you get from having that extra sugar. And this is where it says include protein with every meal, because protein is the way your body is going to maintain that energy for a longer period of time. It takes a little bit more calorie to actually break it down. So you'll be burning a little bit more calorie when you're eating more protein versus when you're eating just a lot of carb heavy stuff. The healthy snacks, of course, is the nitrate-free jerky. Chomps from Costco is like one of my favorite. Sprouted pumpkin seeds, raw nuts, and then minimally processed bars. Just be sure that the sugars are usually from like dates or a natural source versus sort of those alcohol sugars that aren't so great. Some of the things that I like to suggest to add to your daily routine, especially when we're eating and indulging, bitters. I don't know if people are familiar with bitters, but it's an old European kind of way of increasing the gastric acid production. Bitters can be literally just bitters that you get from the section of the herb section of the store. We use them in some cocktails, but other bitters that aren't actually like liquid that you just put in your water would be like dandelion greens to have in a salad, or some green olives, radishes, raw veggies, a lot of things like the sulfuric type of veggies, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all are very helpful in the bitter side of it. Help to just get stimulating your body's ability to be like, we're about to have a good meal. So pre-eating some of these, on a charcuterie board, some of these raw veggies and the green olives would be helpful. Ginger just aids in stomach upset. Of course, when we were sick as kids, mom used to give you ginger ale and chicken soup with crackers. The reason is ginger helps to stimulate the digestive tract, and sort of helps the muscle of the contraction of the stomach, so food will move into the intestines. So if you've been eating too much, having a little bit of ginger in the end, a ginger tea, will help you to sort of help the digestion sort of move further. Water, I can't emphasize this enough, that half of your body weight in ounces helps to just detox. So it'll help to reduce you overeating as well. So what I like to do, when I talk to people about drinking, I say when you're going to drink, one of the best ways to slow the amount of drinking is really drink your beverage, your adult beverage, and then drink an 8 to 16 ounce glass of water before you indulge in another one. It will slow down your process. It will help detox the alcohol out of your body quicker. It'll make you not over consume food. So there's a lot of benefits to just adding that water. And then exercise, which should seem like a no-brainer for most people, but during the holidays we tend to just become sluggish and not do a lot. However, after you've eaten a big meal, your body needs assistance in moving, and just by moving, you'll actually get better stimuli of your intestines. So getting out and going for a walk before or even after the meal is helpful. Playing a game of touch football, or just getting on some music and dancing, all different ways to really just kind of get movement to happen so that you'll be able to detox. There is that suggestion with mixing raw apple cider vinegar and a few ounces of water in the glass that you're drinking with your holiday meal. I caution you for people who might have ulcers, because this will irritate the ulcer. You'll know right away, because apple cider vinegar is an acid, and it actually, when you have an ulcer, you have basically an open wound in your stomach. So it'd be like pouring, vinegar on an open cut, and it won't feel so great. However, in general, it's a pretty good thing to do because it will increase the acidity of your stomach, which will help to get protein to break down better and then get your gastric stomach to empty into your intestines. We'll talk about some swaps. This one's my favorite to talk about because nobody knows what it really is. Aquafaba. It's actually the liquid that you get in a can of beans. It actually is great. It's great in fiber. It's used as an egg binder or can be whipped up to be used as, sort of a meringue. So it's a great way for people who have egg allergies to be able to indulge by just whipping some up and making it almost like a meringue. Beat it with a little bit of sugar and vanilla, and then you can add it as a replacement for eggs without the vanilla and sugar just by making it kind of foam up. It will give you the binding that we're looking for. So don't throw out your bean water that you have if you're using chickpeas to make some hummus with just to get the digestion to be helpful. Avocados is a great swap for anything that you would do that needs butter because it is a fat and it's a healthy fat. It's also rich in a couple of vitamins. It's a really good superfood, lots of zinc, potassium, etc. Zero cholesterol and no sodium. So you can substitute a whole avocado in place of 2 sticks of butter for any meal. And then certainly in your baking recipes, you can still do the same. It is going to be the fat that's going to give you that creaminess. We do at Align have on our website a cookbook that you can go to and pull up, and it has all sorts of really interesting recipes that are going to be healthy for you. And really, I would recommend you go and check it out on our website and see if there's anything that you actually think you want to try. It's really worth kind of looking into trying things that you've probably never thought of before. So bananas. So bananas are good for potassium, magnesium, and fiber. They are a resistant to starch. I do want to say one thing about bananas. The more brown they are, the higher in the sugar or the glycemic load it will be. So if you are a person who has a sugar dysregulation problem, diabetes, insulin resistance, you need to be mindful of using bananas that are just slightly ripe, but not to the point of having any kind of brown spots on it. So it will be good to help moderate your blood sugar if you are eating that type of banana. And then I use it a lot by mashing it up and replacing it also for butter or eggs to just help to lower the recipe. There's on the website, on the World Wide Web, you can really find a lot of recipes with how to make like pancakes with very little ingredients, and banana is one of them. Now, cauliflower, another one of my favorite, because cauliflower is just really so healthy for you. It's a sulforaphane producing vegetable, which just means it's really great for detoxification purposes of your liver. If you're a person who also has issues with hormone dysregulation, the sulforaphane from broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts can really help in helping to manage and maintain it. Very low and high in calories, but high in lots of nutrients. I like to roast it often. I like to steam it. It can be mashed as potatoes. I don't care who tells you this, but it's never going to taste like mashed potatoes. It still tastes like mashed cauliflower. It definitely has that sulfuric flavor to it. But if you like it, you'll really like it a lot. I haven't done the mistakes, but you can just literally take a cauliflower head, cut it in thick pieces, roast it that way, and have sort of a nice, thick, delicious, cauliflower steak with a dipping sauce, which can be very flavorful. A good way to have a vegetarian diet that's going to be healthy for you. Chia seeds. So chia is like the amazing miracle seed from the Incas. It's the most nutritious seed on the planet. It's just loaded with fiber, protein, omega fatty acids, micronutrients. It can be used in place of eggs because if you mix chia seeds with some water, it'll replace the egg. It'll actually kind of bulk up. And those of you who have done like chia overnight pudding, that's exactly what happens. You wet it, it kind of fluffs up and becomes a little more collagenous. It's a wonderful way of utilizing a really good superfood. It doesn't really have too much of a taste, but it really will do a world of good. I use it in my smoothies every single day. And then yogurt. For those of you who are lactose intolerant, you can't really look at this, but yogurt is, again, it's a fat. Greek style yogurt is higher in protein than regular yogurt. And if your yogurt consumption is only Greek and you are not sensitive, or if you are sensitive to whey protein, Greek yogurt is strained and the whey is actually taken out of it. So you can actually indulge in Greek yogurt if you're sensitive to whey protein, because there's none of it in it. I also recommend that you actually use a full fat, but if you do, it should be organic and grass-fed, simply because you're going to have great omega-3s in it. It's got a large amount of calcium, iodine, and potassium. It's really good for, adding more good bacteria to your digestive tract. I like to use it as sour cream. I use it in any recipe that calls for mayonnaise. It's definitely one of those things that can be used a number of different ways. It has that tardiness to it that I certainly like. All right, here's the alcohol. So let's just quickly decide that vodka, gin, and tequila are really the three top alcohols for a number of reasons. They're distilled and they're filtered. So they tend to be not as glycemic. They don't tend to, increase your blood sugar drastically. And if you mix it with a clear liquid or mixer, so water, seltzer, tonic, you'll actually get the best of both worlds because you're not adding extra sugar. Because these are distilled and filtered, and they're usually the best. When it comes to whiskeys and other things, we're starting to talk about things that have added sugars to them or come from grain, so higher in toxins. So we're talking about cider. We talk about wines and champagnes. Unfortunately, the same thing holds true. We're dealing with now, fermenting grapes, and it's the sugar from the grapes that is feeding the bacteria. So if you've got candida, or if you've got overactive gut and a lot of bloating, by drinking more wine and drinking more champagne and drinking beer, which is just fermenting hops, and it has gluten and yeast in it. So all these things really just keep contributing to that. Not so much if you stick to the vodka, gin, and tequila. So this is just, again, a reference point. What you can see is it's green at the top and red at the bottom. So the higher on this list it is, the better it is. And the lower on the list is the ones you should probably stay away from or just drink minimally. It really will make a big difference if your gut is really problematic. And that really is the majority of this particular presentation. So if there are any questions, please put them in that Q&A section, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I do want to remind you that at Aligned, we do take all of these insurances that you see on the screen at the moment. We can schedule a 15-minute free consultation by calling us at that 773-692-6700 or visit us at our website, alignedmodernhealth.com, and see if you can get yourself scheduled for a 15-minute consult to see if you can talk with one of us and determine what may or may not be your condition and what you might want to learn from us.